Public setting, okay, starting stream health. Okay, I'm live. Hi everybody, Angela Fair here. I just wanted to spend a moment telling you about a new book that I just received. I kind of have a little addiction to watercolor books. I love bringing them into my studio, not just for myself, because I think we can learn from each other. All watercolor artists in different styles, we all have something to offer. And so there's a lot we can learn just by listening to each other. So I love buying watercolor books for that reason. And I also like to buy them because then they're available in my studio for my students when I teach locally here. So this one that I got recently is by my friend Leslie Redhead. And Leslie is a watercolor artist who's also from British Columbia, although she lives about 12 hours south of me near Vancouver. And Leslie's watercolor style, she's very versatile. She does portraits, she does paint pouring, so she's very familiar with many watercolor techniques. And what she did was she started out on her blog sharing daily tips, and she did this for about a year. And after about a year, I think she said she realized that she was getting content. She had enough content to start thinking about putting together a book. And so she wrote this book, Watercolor 365. And I love this book because it's like, it's really like a watercolor digest. It's bite-sized content that just is, there's a little topic for every single day of the year. And there's just so many tips. It's packed with, it's kind of almost like an encyclopedia of watercolor in a lot of ways, but it's presented in a very approachable way and gives lots of ideas for a variety of ways to use watercolor. I wanted to share a couple of them that kind of stuck out at me from the book. She has a section just focused on working with salt and what happens when in your climate it's too wet to use salt, what happens when salt sticks to your paper and doesn't want to come off, and just different ways of using salt. So I like that, just that idea that she's going to take one topic, in this case it was using salt, and then just cover that to answer all your burning questions. She goes over different ways of stamping in watercolor, and then because the book is full of her artwork, she shows demonstrations of it actually used in practice, which I think is really good. And then I really like her portrait session. I put post-its in the pages I wanted to show you. I like her portrait session. She's sharing here a variety of colors that you can mix for great skin tones, which is a burning question from many watercolor artists. And then she also shares thoughts to help keep you motivated and encouraged through your painting journey. So I almost think that this would be a great book to use as almost like a textbook if I were teaching a watercolor class, an in-depth class, to include this book for my students, because the content is so applicable to answering those little questions that kind of niggle at you. The content is organized in supplies, basically by topic. Chapter 1 is all paper, brushes, and palettes, then paint and other supplies, and then she moves on to some of these different painting technique topics, using white and watercolor, using black and watercolor, dry brushing and salt effects, different ways to create texture. And because everything's in bite-sized chunks, it's not the information overload that you often think of when you're going through a watercolor book. So I encourage you to check it out. I have a link. I'll be throwing up a link in the description for this video as soon as I wrap up here. And you can purchase the book on Amazon.com. Her name is Leslie Redhead. I'm not being compensated for this review. In fact, I had to buy the book in order to review it. I didn't even get a free copy to go over for you. But I love this book. I'm glad I bought it. And it's neat to hear, it's always neat to hear another artist's perspective on different technique topics. I got some great ideas as I went through the book, different things I wanted to try. So, it's not just for beginners, but intermediate and advanced watercolorists can use it as well. I do receive I am an affiliate for Amazon.com, so I do receive a small commission if you order through the links on Amazon below, and I want to thank you for that. And yeah, feel free to leave a book recommendation or a book you'd like to see reviewed in the comment section, and I'll see if I have it in my vast collection, or I'll put it on my list of books to try and order and review, because I do love me a good watercolor book. Well, I love all books, actually. So thank you for joining me, and yeah, check it out, Watercolor 365. Have a great day. Yeah, okay, I'm done. I'm out of words.